Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and we're here in Breckenridge, Colorado, and our original plan, we have kind of like an extra day off of school here this weekend, so we were gonna go do an overlanding trip like across Nebraska, but the weather was looking really bad, like snow and stuff, so we decided to come here to Breckenridge, and then today we're gonna drive about 4 hours over to Moab, and we're going to do some of Moab's most famous like overlanding trails. We're going to start on Gemini Bridges Trail, and then we'll head over to Schaefer Trail in Canyonlands National Park, and then we're going to go do Onion Creek Trail, and then we'll plan to camp somewhere in there for the night. There's a really cool camp spot along the Colorado River, which looks really cool. That might be full though, so I don't really know where we're gonna camp tonight, but yeah, and then tomorrow we'll kind of resume. We're gonna go do some stuff in Arches National Park and stuff, and then we'll drive back here to Breckenridge and then head back to Lincoln, Nebraska. So yeah, we're gonna drive over to Moab now, and then we'll go do Gemini Bridges Trail.
You'll always be the one I want at midnight. You'll always steal my breath away, yeah. You'll always be my heart and my life, every second, every day.
All right, we have made it here to Moab, to the Gemini Bridges trailhead. Yeah, so we're gonna go do Gemini Bridges Trail. I believe this trail is like a 4 out of 10. You could pretty much do it, like most of the trail reports are saying, you could pretty much do it in like a stock vehicle. So the trail starts out it goes up that, and it starts out with a little climb on like a shelf road, and then it descends a little bit, and then the rest of the trail is pretty like flat, I believe, with a couple little like slick rock and rock sections, and then right at the end you'll reach the Gemini Bridges like arch, which looks pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna air down here quick, and then we're gonna go do Gemini Bridges Trail. The Gemini Bridges Trail started off on a steep shelf road going up the side of a cliff above Highway 191. None of this climb was too hard, with only a few rocky sections, and mainly just rough and slow going. I do think that most vehicles can make it through, but high clearance would be recommended. After making it up the climb, you will then hit a descent before the rest of the trail is pretty flat, with a couple of smaller and steeper climbs, as well as a couple rocky and slow-going sections along the way. But we now head toward the Gemini Bridge, which is what this trail is named after.
Feels like
All right, we made it here, probably a little bit over halfway done with the trail, and we're at the Gemini Bridges trailhead. So this is kind of like a arch, like in the middle of the trail here. So it's a little bit of a hike to get to it. I think it's only like a half mile, but yeah. So we're gonna go hike that, and then we'll finish up Gemini Bridges Trail. Really cool trail. Highly recommend it. Super, really good views. You can see, I believe over there's the Needles District in Canyonlands National Park. But let's go hike Gemini Bridges. The hike down to the bridge was just under 0.4 miles long and provided some great views, especially with the La Salle Mountains off in the distance, and being able to see Canyonlands National Park as well was really amazing. The trail was mostly easy to follow as long as you stayed on the green paint markings guiding you to the bridge. And once making it to the Gemini Bridge, we were surprised at how gigantic this bridge truly is, and it was so cool being able to get right up close to it. And after spending some time climbing around the rocks trying to get some cool pictures, we then headed back the way we came and finished out the rest of the Gemini Bridges Trail. We made it here to the Gemini Bridge arch. Really cool. The arch is actually down there. You can kind of walk all around this area. This canyon's really cool with the La Salle Mountains off in the distance, and then the Needles and Canyonlands National Park. Yeah, this whole area is really cool. Highly recommend Gemini Bridges Trail. But now we're gonna hike back to the car, and we're gonna go do the rest of Gemini Bridges, and then we'll see what we do after that. We might go do Onion Creek Trail or Schaefer Trail. We'll see, but let's go drive the rest of Gemini Bridges Trail. We made it to the end of Gemini Bridges Trail here, and it dumped us out at 313, which is the highway. If you go left, you go up to Canyonlands National Park, and if you go right, it'll take you back down into Moab. It's probably about 2:30 in the afternoon. We're gonna go left and go up into Canyonlands. We're gonna do a trail called Schaefer Trail. This is a pretty famous trail. It's got some really steep switchbacks on it. It's kind of a shelf road almost. It's not too crazy or anything. Most people can do it in a stock vehicle. It's rated a 3 out of 10. We're gonna go do that. It's about 18 miles long, and then we're gonna go fuel up in Moab and then try to find camp for the night, hopefully around Onion Creek or the Colorado River. So let's go do Schaefer Trail. Schaefer Trail in Canyonlands National Park is known for being a steep shelf road on the side of a cliff with some really famous switchbacks. The road started out as a path for the indigenous people to get off of the plateau that the trail starts on, known as the Island in the Sky. But in 1916, the trail was converted into a way to move cattle and eventually became a mining road to mine uranium during the Cold War. And from ever since Canyonlands was established in 1964, the road has been used for recreational use only. Now, I mentioned earlier that the road is known for its steep cliffs and tight switchbacks. And you might be wondering if I thought the drive was scary. I wouldn't say it was very scary or nerve-wracking, although in our 27 North Rex Rover Expedition truck, built on a Ford F-350 chassis that is about 23 feet long, we did have to use the full road in the switchbacks, and did have to reverse on one of them to be able to clear it. Once getting to the bottom of Schaefer Trail, you then have a decision to make. You can either do what most people do and turn around and go back up Schaefer Trail, or you can take a left turn at the bottom and get onto Potash Road. Once on Potash Road, it is then another 14 miles of dirt and about 15 miles of pavement before making it back into the town of Moab. The other least common option to do at the bottom of Schaefer Trail is to go on the White Rim Trail, which is either a very long day trip or a multi-day trip through Canyonlands. And that is definitely something that is on my bucket list to do someday in Moab. Potash Road was so cool and provided some amazing views of the Red Rock Canyons and the Colorado River. You could pretty much do Schaefer Trail in most vehicles, but I think you would want a little more clearance if you're wanting to do Potash Road. But we now begin making our way back into the town of Moab to get fuel and then go searching for a camp spot for the night. One last thing I wanted to note is that I will put our full route for the whole trip that we took if you guys want to go check that out in the description below.
Step by step, I've walked 100 miles and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wandered so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Can you hear me? Tell me, can you hear me? I've been calling out for help, still don't see nobody near me. I'm down and almost underground and so deep in the valley, I can't even tell you which way is the mountain. God, the only word I got, I could probably plant a garden, all this dirt I got. Trail of broken hearts behind me from the hurt I bought. Sometimes I really start to wonder if I deserve my spot. Cause I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands. But does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, say a prayer for me, I think you would advance.
Step by step, I walked 100 miles and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find.
Let's go.
The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wandered so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely
Get off of this lonely road.
Would you catch me? Tell me, would you catch me if I told you I was sorry? Could I fall into your blessing? Would you wrap your arms around me? Never drown me. If I walk towards the light, could I tell him that you found me? God, the only help I got. I know some people plotting on me, probably thought I'd rot. Praying for my downfall, wanna take my spot. Guess I deserve it, all the evil came out my heart. But I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands. But does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, take me up, I pray to God I never
Step by
land.
step, I've walked 100 miles and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wandered so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road.
Alright, we made it out of Potash Road. Really cool trail there. Yeah, highly recommend it, especially adding on like Schaefer Trail and Canyonlands National Park. But now we're getting fuel right now, and we're gonna head kind of over to Highway 128. It's this really cool highway, and then we're gonna try to find a camp spot, hopefully around Onion Creek Trail or something, and then we'll go do Onion Creek tomorrow. So that's kind of the plan. We're gonna go find camp, hopefully kind of on some BLM land. Hopefully find a pretty good camp spot with some good views. So yeah. Alright, we made it here to a pretty good camp spot. We kind of drove around for a long time on some BLM land, and all of the like side roads that you could pull off on and camp said like no camping and stuff. But we came over here to we drove the Highway 128 for quite a ways, and we came here to the start of the Top of the World Trail. We're here in like the Dewey Bridge area. So up that way is Top of the World, which is a really famous trail here in Moab. But yeah, we found this really good camp along the Colorado River. You can see the Dewey Bridge over there and stuff. Yeah, there's a bunch of camp spots. They're pretty big camp spots along here. So yeah, we're kind of just hang out for the rest of the night, and then I think tomorrow we're gonna go do Onion Creek Trail, and then we're also gonna kind of drive back to Breckenridge and stuff. We might do some stuff on the drive back that way. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for our second day. We're back here for our second day now here. Pretty cool camp spot we're at. Yeah, it rained a little bit last night, but it's not too wet. And I think we're gonna go do Onion Creek Trail, which is it's like a 10-mile long trail. It's like out and back. And it has 17 river crossings on it. You cross Onion Creek 17 times, which is pretty cool. It's through this pretty tight canyon, so I'm pretty excited to go do that trail. I will leave all of my routes and waypoints and tracks and stuff in the description below. I'll leave a pin to this camp spot if you guys want to check this one out. But yeah, we're gonna go do Onion Creek Trail, and then we're kind of gonna decide from there. We might go do there's an off-road trail that kind of goes into Arches National Park. Otherwise, we might just head back to Breckenridge, but we'll see. So let's go do Onion Creek Trail. The Onion Creek Trail in Moab is something that you definitely cannot miss. It was so cool. The Red Rock Canyon walls, paired with the creek running right beside you for most of the trail, is something that I will never forget, and is just something that you need to see for yourself. The start of the trail was where most of the creek crossings were located, with some of them being only a few hundred feet apart from each other. At about halfway, you will start climbing and will be above the creek before leaving the creek for a little bit and going up onto this super cool plateau where the creek originates from. In 10 miles, you will cross 34 creek crossings, is what we counted, and for us, that means we crossed Onion Creek 68 times, as we did it as an out and back trail. But we are now going to head the 10 miles back on the Onion Creek Trail and start making our way back into Colorado and towards Breckenridge. But before we do that, we have one last stop on our way back, the Colorado National Monument in Grand Junction. So we are going to head over there now. Alright, we made it here to the Colorado National Monument. It's been a little bit rainy, but I think we have a little bit of a break in the rain here. We might like get out and do some hikes, like short hikes or some overlooks, but we're gonna drive this like rim rock drive. I believe it's about 23 miles long. It usually takes probably about a little less than an hour. So yeah, let's go check out the Colorado National Monument. Without knowing what the weather was going to do, or if it was going to rain or not, we decided to just stay close to the car and do most of the stops along the 23-mile rim rock drive. At the end of the drive, I will tell you guys which overlooks I thought were the best and which ones I thought you should only stop at if you have enough time. We are doing this drive from west to east, and after making it through the entrance station, we then immediately started climbing up onto the plateau that the monument sits on. There were a couple tunnels carved through the rock, and it was a pretty tight and windy road, which was really cool. At about 4 miles into the drive, we then made our first stop at the Window Rock Trail. Most of these places we stop at are only about a half mile or less of a hike to reach them. This trail will lead you to some awesome views of Monument Canyon along with the town of Grand Junction off in the distance. The moment we looked down into the canyon, we were in awe at how spectacular and massive this canyon really is, and as we made our way along the Rimrock Drive, the views would only get better. I will now show you guys all of the places we stopped at along the drive, and then come back and talk a little bit about what my favorite overlooks were, along with some more details and history about the monument. So real quick, before we end the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the history because it is really interesting. The monument was established in 1911 and spans close to 21,000 acres. The monument was first discovered by a man named John Otto in 1907, and later in 1911, John was the only person who worked at the monument and got paid only $1 per month. Then, during the Great Depression, was when most of the park's infrastructure was built, such as the Rimrock Drive, along with many of the park's trails. That's where we're going to wrap up this video of our 2-day trip here through Colorado and Utah. Yeah, this trip was a lot of fun. All of the off-roading trails we did around Moab were a lot of fun. I will leave a link to all the trails we did, like my tracks and waypoints down in the description below, like where we camped and stuff, so be sure to go check that out. And then the Colorado National Monument, which we did on our way back, was really, really cool. It was like the Rimrock Drive was really cool. There was just a bunch of overlooks into all these super like big and deep canyons, which was really cool. Yeah, so I would highly recommend stopping at Colorado National Monument. It was really cool and definitely exceeded my expectations for it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.